Hey folks, welcome to Bear Mountain. This weekend's video is going to be kind of a short one. We're kind of in the middle of doing a lot of things, and one of the things is we've been harvesting our shelling peas. We picked over 10 pounds yesterday, and I've got another probably half of the row to go, so I'll probably pick another 10 pounds tomorrow. And we're going to be putting up quite a bit in terms of fresh peas. We've also eaten a lot of fresh peas, so that electroculture on that has been quite the success. Now we've got some other things on the place though that are, well, they're kind of a little bit rough. One of the areas that we've been trying to do is bring back some grapevines that are table grapes, and they keep getting hit by deer as soon as they put out any new growth. They're getting nailed. And although it's been pretty good for the last 2 weeks, and they've finally actually been able to start putting out some leaves, but these guys have just kind of been getting hammered. Our blueberries, which are behind me here, kind of showing you, there's one in the picture. We got those guys mulched up yesterday. This is from our cut grass. We've been cutting it with the scythe, and it's been at this, just where the seed heads are starting to form. And so we've been it's not what you'd say a viable seed on the seed heads at this time, but it will be pretty quick because things are pollinating. But anyway, what I'm looking at here is I've had some damage due to deer on my blueberries, and I'm going to have to come up with some kind of netting system for these guys too. So you can kind of see the blueberries. We've got probably about a 4 or 5 inch mulch over the top of them. The leaves are just starting to turn dark color for the season. There are some berries setting on, but unfortunately, we have had a little bit of damage to a number of the plants. Like this guy right here, when I got in, you can kind of see it's missing a whole bunch of leaves, a whole bunch of branches. If I zoom in a little bit. So as you can kind of see, the plants they've been nubbed a bit. These are 3-year-old plants. They should be growing much better than they are. And as you can kind of see, they're not as tall as they should be. And some of the leaves are definitely a little bit on the sick side. So I've had some damage, and I think I've got to do something about fertility. When I did plant these guys in here, my acidity was below 6. It was about 5.5 in that range, but I think it needs more at this point. And although this is the first year of a really heavy mulch on the whole area to try to just cool down the soil in general, so I'm kind of hoping that also helps make a difference. But I definitely got to get some protection on these guys. So I thought I'd show you this thing. This is pretty interesting. This was a patch we planted years ago for snowberries to basically sell cut snowberry branches to the floral industry. And since we've been out of the floral business, these guys have just naturalized this. These are pink snowberries. And the plants now, I'm standing back and looking, and they're over my head when I get into the main part of the row. I haven't been pruning these guys, so they just keep adding on to their height. And I always thought snowberries are supposed to be kind of a moderate sized shrub, but they're actually thriving in pretty much full sun out here. It gets afternoon sun the whole time. And there's blooms, there's blossoms on them. So they're going to put berries on, maybe not as thick as it would be if it was better maintained. But on the flip side of it, these guys have naturalized so much that I hardly water them at all during the summertime, and they seem to be thriving just fine. There's a little bit of weeding and grass around the edges I got to take out, but other than that, these guys they're almost disease-free. I had a lot of rust problems on these guys before, and now, just left to their own devices and their own fertility, I guess, for lack of a better term, they seem to be doing really well. Okay, this has been a disappointment. This is Back down, you remember I planted melons and watermelons and cantaloupes in the tunnel here directly. Now, last year I did direct seeding, and I had really good germination, and really, I actually had to thin the hills out. And these first 4 right here, I do have some watermelons, but I put a whole lot of seed in these, and I'm getting hardly any germination, whether it's landrace or the purchase seed. Now, part of it may be that we did have some cooler nights, but actually we were never below 50. And it was definitely shutting the tunnel down at nighttime. But what I ended up with was, poor germination. And the cantaloupes, that was the worst thing. I would have cantaloupes come up. I'd go, oh, great, they're starting to germinate. I'd come out the next day and they were gone. And so something is eating them as fast as they were coming up, which I think is what's happened to the majority of my direct seeded. I've got, out of 5 hills, I've got 1 small cantaloupe plant right there. And it's a land race. It's one of the ones that we had our own seed. And this is nuts. And I can't find slug trails or anything like that. So I don't know, maybe it could be birds that are getting it to them. But I'm going to have to go back and redo this. And so we're not going to have early melons this year, looks like. We may have watermelons because I do have a few of those plants. But definitely on the cantaloupes, I'm going to have to do those by seed in 6-packs and transplant in. So that whole experiment of direct seeding, even in the tunnel, was a failure. I guess I won't do that again. So this is, we are at the 6th of June today. And what you can notice from the shallots is they're beginning to bulb up. And that's what I would anticipate as we get towards the longest day. And same thing with and these are all shallots, looking at that until you get about over there. And then we start seeing that the onions are doing the same thing. And so I think they're going to do okay. We'll just see how it goes. It's about probably middle of July they'll be finished, and they'll be knocking the tops down at that point. Snow peas have done really well. I'm going to harvest a bunch of these guys tomorrow and blanch and freeze them. And so that was a pretty good crop of this. The plants got about 4 feet tall, roughly, maybe a little taller in some cases. I got some that are almost 4.5 feet. They did really well climbing up the netting, and the actual size of the snow pea is pretty good. So this is an example of the peas we've been harvesting a lot on. I got this side to do tomorrow morning, and they're not setting on any more new pea pods. There's no more new blossoms. They're finished. So once I get finished harvesting these guys are going to come out, and then we'll move into putting some summer crop stuff in here. I definitely got to get my zucchini planted, and so I'll be starting those in 6-packs, just like I'm going to do my melons. And also too, in this section, we're going to put our cucumbers that we're going to have for pickling. So these guys are going to be coming out here probably, I would guess, at the rate that these guys are ripening. I'm going to be yanking these vines out probably by the end of next week. So that'll be somewhere around the 15th of the month, thereabouts. They'll be out. So then we'll crop over, like I said, and put in zucchinis and cukes. So that's about it. Just a kind of a status update, walk around. Deer are kind of really biting us in the rear end. They're getting so lack of intimidated by humans that I could be out working and they'll just be like, they'll just come up within 10 feet of me and just stare at me going, hey, gonna do something about it? You know, it's almost, you wish you could just, yeah, I can't do it. It's not legal, right? So anyway, we just got more deer protection stuff to do. You know, it's kind of a really waste of time to have to do that kind of stuff, but you got to do what you got to do. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.